We're live. There we go. Astro and HTMX. So you're more than welcome to walk me through everything. I haven't used HTMX at all, so that's going to be new to me. Again, fairly newer at Astro. Although I've been helping with their docs and stuff, so I've been fiddling around with that.
This is actually where I wanna start it. What do you think is happening here?
What do I think is happening here? In all honesty, it just looks like straight HTML.
Okay. That's a good first step.
Is that the goal with HTMX? Is basically just for it to look completely, oh my goodness, all like HTML?
So it's a funny thing. If you hear marketing terms for any framework,
yep.
What they will talk about is oh, this is just JavaScript, this is just HTML, this is just this, just that. So it's always kind of
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they try to say that it's just this, but we have few features like that. And Angular came out if you watch that presentation in 2012 or whatever it was, Ishko is saying, yeah, this is what browsers should be doing by themselves. They're just emulating kind of some kind of future browser that just knows how to do all of this stuff.
Yep.
And this is kind of the same. So this is HTMX is oh, it would be really cool if HTML would do this itself. So we're kind of we're making it look kind of you're using a future browser. But anyway, so under that photo, there is a link to Wiki article, and I think that's the funniest thing ever.
The Wikipedia one. Oh. Are you helping out? Is this an open source project?
Which one?
The background noise is probably me. Is HTMX open source?
Yeah, of course. It started as a jQuery plugin. It was called intercooler.js, and they kind of rebranded and kind of relaunched themselves recently.
And that's when everybody started talking about it a bunch.
Yeah. So the talking part is that it was out for a few years. I don't remember exact dates, but I would say 2 or 3 years it was called HTMX. And it's just the kind of posting on Twitter from that rock guy. He was just on top of all of the memes, and people started.
It's been working. It was talked
people
about.
People started kind of supporting it ironically and unironically.
Unironically.
But there are people who actually use it. It's not just for the memes. It's actually pretty popular in, as far as I know, in Django and sometimes in Go.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly, it's everyone likes HTMX memes, even though you don't care about HTMX in a sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that Primogen picked it up, it kind of it has a lot of kind of just awareness. People know that it exists. People know that it could.
Yeah, they brought awareness to it for sure.
Yeah.
They are pretty funny memes, though. The memes that I've been seeing for HTMX. I don't know if there are any.
Exactly. So going back to that article, a Wikipedia article.
The Wikipedia one. Yep.
So this article is written in 2005. So this is how internet worked in 2005. So they have this AJAX submit.js in kind of in the middle of the article or at the top.
Sorry, which one are we going to?
Yeah, I think this one. There is like a snippet of the code. If you scroll a bit up, yeah. So this one,
11:10,
right?
yeah.
So it's like AJAX submit. So it says like when I started web dev, kind of like 2005.
Yep.
This is kind of like the state of the web dev in 2005. This
Yep.
is how we would write websites. You create .js file, create .html file, and you just like put
Link
them
the two.
together.
Yeah.
So can you read that JS file? Does that kind of like make sense to you? It's like a real old API, but do you kind of
Yeah.
like do you see what's happening here?
I don't think I
Well,
know
first
what
of all, it's
on
like it's
ready
not
state
TypeScript, right?
change is.
Huh?
What's the on ready state change?
So because there were like no promises back then,
Yep.
you would do everything through callbacks, and like if you were waiting for like a fetch request to finish
Yep.
instead of like await something, you would do kind of like a callback, and once the where is it like once the ready state is like 4, it means that this you got the response.
Oh. I honestly don't think I've used many of the like built-in browser API functions often.
In a sense, the problem was that every browser had their own API,
Yep.
and jQuery
Yeah.
kind of like was the tool to abstract that away and to say, yeah, just call jQuery.ajax instead of like doing this for Internet Explorer, doing this for Firefox and all that stuff. So it's like it was never a thing that like people actually used, and like fetch is the first like API browser API that like people actually using. So I'm not blaming you for that. It was pretty bad API.
Is HTMX better than Vue? Is what I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm gonna call it Sins asks.
I think I know this guy, and I created a video on my YouTube channel that has this thumbnail, which is like HTMX is not the worst. At least it's better than Vue. I think that's just like a kind of
Cat
like
decided
callback
to say hi.
for my video. It's different. So just to answer about like Vue thing.
Yep.
It's not actually like fair to compare Vue to HTMX, because you would have to compare it to kind of like to because you don't use HTMX by itself. You use like framework on the backend, so you would use like Astro plus HTMX, and then you're not comparing to Vue, you're comparing to like Next. So that's like a silly comparison, because it's like you can build kind of like a Jamstack application completely in Vue. You
Yep.
can't build like a full application completely in HTMX. It's kind of like it's a different, I don't know, different slice of stuff. So it's hard to compare. But
So
I want to go. I want to go to that HTMX. Call it
So
say
Oliver
chart
wants to know
request
how you
stuff.
would define HTMX. He was asking, like, is it a framework, front end, back end? And I know you said that it's not something that you can use on its own. Like, it
Yeah.
has to be used alongside something like Astro. But how would you define it?
We define it as that JavaScript file. This is literally like the best way to understand it.
Like this?
So what this does, it takes element ID and submit URL, and it will go to that URL, get HTML from it, and that's the part where kind of like in the middle of this of the example, where it does
This right here.
document get element by ID, and this is like the element ID that you pass.
Okay.
Then it inner HTMLs the response. So what it does is that you can make any element on your page interactive, in a sense that when you click the button in that example, we'll call this function. This function will go to kind of like response a response like element, so just like a div or something,
Yep.
that will put the HTML that we got from the server inside of it. So if you imagine that button could have been doing some kind of like submit form, right?
Yep.
Response would be like, hey, this thing has been submitted, or like you created this record or whatnot. It's like, if it wasn't validated, it will like show the error. So it's like this way of thinking about like UIs where everything is done on the server, like like validation and like all the actions kind of like working on the server, and server just responds you with HTML. What browser does is just like shows that HTML. This is like a really old idea. This is literally how like the web with like AJAX started.
Okay.
It took like years until like JSON and until like had like real frameworks and all that stuff. So it's like HTMX is really old idea, and that's an idea that like haven't died really yet, or like in any meaningful way, because a lot of people just don't care about JavaScript, and for them want to have as little JavaScript as possible. In a sense that like those 20 lines of JavaScript can get you pretty far.
Yep.
And as long as you kind of like manage all of your stuff through the like server logic. So HTMX is just modern take on that idea.
Okay.
And I would say like 90% of like what HTMX is just the kind of like methodology of like how you build your websites, not the like the library itself.
Does it make it like quicker using HTMX over using just like vanilla JavaScript, like if you were to compare the two?
Yeah, I think that's the fair comparison. Is like if you want to build app that is like that is built like with HTMX ideology, you can do that in vanilla JavaScript. It would be just like not as fun, kind of. It would be a bit more boilerplate in a sense. So it's like there's this literally kind of like the minimal amount of boilerplate you could have to make all of this kind of like server-driven stuff work.
Okay. Extends and generalizes the core idea of HTML as a hypertext, opening up more possibilities directly within the language. Now, any element, not just anchors and form, can use an HTTP request. So that's what they're showing here, is that you don't have to build anything out special for a button.
Yeah, so you have to see that code, and you have to realize that this code was not created by, like, it was not generated in a browser. It was like not created by React View and all that stuff. It's the code that you got from the server.
Yep.
So it could be like just a static page, right? But if we're talking about Astro, that means that like Astro generated that on the server and just sent us the HTML. And that HTML has kind of like a logic how to make that HTML interactive. So you still have to run some JavaScript to like turn it, like to make it interactive, right? To kind of like hydrate or whatever.
But like not as much as you would have had to without it, right?
I'm sorry, I just missed that.
You wouldn't have to use as much JavaScript if you use HTMX versus without it.
Right. So it's like a tricky question about like JavaScript. So what I call usually like HTMX for people who know about it is like live view light. So live view is like a Elixir based framework.
There it is.
No, it's live view, not okay. It's live.
There is light view.
It's a live.
Are you saying like view?
Not,
got it.
Live.
Creepy static in the audio.
I don't hear anything, but so
it's probably through the stream itself, not through you. Cool.
That when I talk, or
No.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh, so it
Anyway,
might just be Olivo.
so there is live view, view like spelled normally,
Yep.
which is like server. Okay, let me just send it to.
I honestly haven't used much Vue.
So it's like a full framework that is built with. This is probably not the best link. I think they have like a kind of like nicer looking landing somewhere, but I just couldn't find it. So this is like fully kind of like server driven thing, and all the UI updates are happening just kind of like over WebSockets, and there are
Yep.
like some projects like that from .NET. There's like a Blazor that is doing like WASM and all that stuff. So it's that kind of thing where like people just like hate JavaScript. They don't want to do any JavaScript, and it's like, oh, if someone presses on the button and there should be like models showing up, I will go to the server, ask what the content of the model is, and I will just like show it. So
So this is kind of
HTMX
bringing
is
reactivity into it, isn't it?
yeah. So this is one is like much more complicated because it requires basically like a process running on the server,
Yep.
and that process will take kind of like events, right? So it's like there's like this level of interaction where it's like you're not handling it right on the browser, you have to go to the server. But because it's using Elixir, is kind of like more optimized on like event handling, all of that stuff. It's not actually like that crazy, and it's actually like the performance is fine, all of that stuff is fine. But it's like a thing to get into that. Ryan Carniato did a video with a guy who created Live Vue.js.
Yep.
That one is basically using the same thing, but it's using JavaScript on the backend instead of Elixir. So it's a bit easier to kind of to get into all of those ideas. So yeah, I would just like recommend watching his video to get into this. So HTMX is kind of like similar thing, but they're working on like much simpler primitives in a sense. So it's like if I want to click on a button, like I will go to the server, but like I will not use kind of like complicated like WebSockets and like messages and all that stuff. I will just like add that URL, like fetch that URL,
Yep.
and I will just like put HTML from that URL to the target. So like AJAX target is like where do I put it? And you can write kind of like any CSS selector. So you can write like body div, right? Or like first child, second child, or like all of that stuff. So it's actually like pretty. So like if you know HTML, if you know CSS, like adding HTMX is like much easier switch than adding like a full blown JavaScript
Yep.
framework, because it's like it talks with you in terms that you already know, in terms of APIs, or not APIs, but like HTML pages in terms of like CSS selectors. So it's like you already know all of that stuff.
So it's almost like making it a
Which is
bit
actually
easier of
like-
a step between learning HTML, CSS, and then going to JavaScript. Like it helps kind of bridge that, because usually like it's a huge step going from those two into JavaScript, and I guess this might potentially bridge that gap, so it's not as big of a jump, maybe. Is that a good
Exactly,
way of
and it's
putting
like
it?
yeah, that's why it's like funny to see like completely like framework people who grew up on like React, right? So
Yeah.
who are like, I don't understand what is HTML and CSS. Like I've never seen that. Like all I see
Yeah.
is React. So it's like this doesn't make any sense. It's like it's harder to now jump to that kind of like style.
Yep.
But for people who when they see React, they don't understand what's happening. For them, it's
Yeah.
like it's much easier to go to kind of like stay in HTMX instead of going to React.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you're using JSX for the majority of your React stuff, anyways, and that can be a bit of a hurdle to navigate, depending on what your background is.
But it's like if you're using React, how do you go and like fetch from something from the server? It's like you have to learn like 10 different new things
Yeah.
While if you're already working on a backend framework, that part is actually like easy for you.
Yep.
And it's like all the React stuff is hard. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean like on click? Like I don't understand what that
How
is.
do I make those calls? How do I build the interactivity? Oh, okay. So this is. Oh, I think I saw somebody actually say that HTMX is almost built for backend devs.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's exactly like the target audience, and that's exactly like it's exactly their kind of like strong point, because it's like for some of the things you need to like add a special header to your response or something like that, which is like if you're React dev, you just like don't know where to start. But if you're a backend dev, it's like yeah, but like adding a header is like so much simpler than like than like using a provider context or whatever. So like
Yeah.
it's like a whole different universe.
Interesting.
So I think we should start with just like wanted to since you're working on like solid talks, figured it could be like a cool exercise. So it should be npm init solid at beta. I'll just like send it to you.
At beta?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we still doing bear?
It basically doesn't matter, but yeah, I think bear is the fun one.
Are we using server-side rendering?
Yes. Otherwise, HTMX doesn't work.
TypeScript.
Yeah. So this should be like fun for you, just because it's.
I honestly have not played with much SolidStart.
Exactly. You probably haven't touched that one yet.
I've been touching only core solid stuff. As it takes a hot minute.
So if you go to look at the files, so the first thing that you see is astro.config, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that involved. So
Yeah.
what it does, it turns on SSR. That's the adapter node part.
Yeah.
That makes it. You can like start it as like on the backend. And the only integration that we have there is Start, which is like which is the way for SolidStart to glob itself into into all of this stuff. So it will add like a solid like JSX support and all of that stuff.
Sorry, I'm just trying to see if it'll open up.
Uh-huh.
Wow, it works.
So first thing that we're going to do is that if you go to source,
Yep.
so you see that right now everything is done through like solid.
Yeah.
But if you create a folder there called pages, so it should be source pages. If you create in the I don't know, like test.astro file inside of it, inside of pages.
And sorry, what was the page did we want it to be?
Like a test.astro or something like that.
Nope, didn't like that. There we go.
So just write there like hello world or something like that.
And like an H1?
It actually doesn't matter, but H1 is the perfect one, yeah.
Okay.
So now if you go to like /test, okay, I think it
didn't like it.
Yeah, I think it didn't
once I
like
used
it.
PM in production, and I had to shamefully hoist everything, even without H1.
I wonder what they're doing to break it, because it used to work. So it's source pages. Like I'm doing something wrong.
Do we have to configure the file, or does it automatically recognize pages?
Can you like? Okay, let's just like check if I'm insane. Let's go to astro config.
Okay.
And let's comment out line 11 where we turn on SolidStart. And let's refresh the, oh, what's happening? Oh yeah, just restart it. Unfortunately, that's like one of the issues in Astro. It's like, yeah, it's just sometimes it just like crashes.
I've been hearing that it's been breaking everything.
Okay. Yeah, let's go to test now.
No, it says
What's happening?
you can mark the path start root as external to exclude it from the bundle, which will remove this error. Import root from start root is apparently where the error is.
Yeah, let's go back to the Astro config. I just want to see if I'm missing something. So we do adapter. We do. Okay. Okay. Turns out using like beta releases is not as stable as you would think.
No, SolidStart, I don't think's in the best place right now.
Yeah.
But hey, this works.
There's actually like a way to do that in Solid as well. So they should have like this like inside of start, like on line 11. Inside of start, you can like pass basically like options and can you just like create an empty object inside of like as an argument for start function.
Where am I doing this? Oh, within here?
Yeah, inside here. Yeah. And just try to see if you get like any autocomplete. I think it's like control space or something like that.
I have SSR2 control space.
Yeah. So.
And Sin is saying, are we trying to integrate Astro with SolidStart? Is it possible? You mean npm run Astro add solid?
Yeah. So what's happening is that SolidStart is a new version of SolidStart. They are building it on top of Astro, kind of like SSR functionality. So I played with all of this stuff before, and it used to be set up in a way where you can like quickly switch between like Astro and Solid. Maybe they broke something, but or if you use SolidStart before, it's actually going to be kind of like it's basically going to be the same, like using SolidStart based on Vite or SolidStart based on Astro. But so they have this thing like islands.
Yeah.
And if you turn like islands true, it should turn like should turn basically.
It wants me to pass an array.
Solid. Yeah, it's just right through. It's hallucinating. Yeah. So the thing about no. So we're not doing tests anymore. I think it doesn't work. Yeah, Astro is based on Vite, but their like backend is like a separate thing. So like this, it's kind of like the same way as like there is like Vite SSR plugin. Astro is kind of like doing all of that stuff. So if you like create a file that is like not TS, it will be like API route. If you create a file for like pages, that's going to be like a kind of like page that responds with HTML. So
and that automatically detects that.
I'm sorry?
It automatically detects like the pages folder.
So the pages thing doesn't work anymore. So like we're giving up on that. You can remove it. I should have no, like not the whole thing, just pages. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Fortunately, yeah. So now like in SolidStart, can you click on that button that says like click 0? So it doesn't work anymore. What we did by turning on islands. Now SolidStart produces kind of like how do you say it? Like just HTML. It doesn't ship any JavaScript anymore.
Do they have islands in their docs yet?
I'm not sure. I only know about that from like Brian's streams.
My cat is like screaming right now.
Yeah, but you're a backend developer now. So just by turning islands true, or just like creating Astro file, you're a backend developer now. So like your JavaScript has no power here anymore.
Oh, well. Just what I needed in life.
Yeah, exactly. So, um, so let's just go through like how SolidStart works. Oh, I think it starts at the N3 server.
Yep.
So this one. So it's like it will go to server start kind of like component.
Yep.
And I think server start component basically like looks for root.tsx.
Okay.
That's kind of like how it works.
So it looks for something in the roots folder?
No, it's lower. It's the last file in that folder. So it's root.tsx.
Oh, this one.
Hmm. So we can check that it works, right? So we can okay. So it's doing. Oh, there should be router somewhere. Yeah. So you have like routes on like line 30. You have like routes, which is like a component that will like search for something. But if you just like write something.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
But if you just like write something here in this file, like after links, for example, it's going to be like kind of like our root template that is going to be like on every page. Yeah.
Okay.
Just save it and you see
it
now, right? Oh, you see that this is kind of like I think they call it like nested layouts or whatnot. It's like when pages when parts of the page are like reused for kind of like for everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't matter on like which page we are on. Like this part of it is going to be there.
So this is how somebody would create a nav almost in SolidStart?
Right. It will depend on like you will get like more. You will get more flexibility where we have like different layouts, whereas like some of the pages are maybe like have different designs, but this allows you to have like shared designs between pages. But anyway, so the files route it's like a component that SolidStart provides.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that will go into like routes folder, and it will search for stuff that we're looking for. So if you go to routes and if we create test.tsx there, I think it should be like default export. So like,
do you have to import anything by default? Is title for SSO or SEO?
Sorry?
Oof. Is title for all the like SEO stuff?
Yeah, so the title is a bit special because of that like nested stuff. What you want to do is like when I'm on /blog, I want to have blog in the title. But when I'm on this particular blog post, I want to have like this blog post in the title. And title tag, what it does is it will try to let the last one be. So it's like once you're kind of like deeply nested, it will figure out what the like deepest one and like use that title. So it allows you to easily kind of manage your titles. A lot of people like do this sort of stuff for like breadcrumbs or stuff like that, where you can get the biggest things. Okay, I see some question in the chat. So it's like the Astro slot child is now client side with all.js. So, what?
They did ask a question before that said in Next, now when you write use client on the top of the file, all the children would be client component.
So yeah, next is a funny thing. So like I'm writing a talk about React Server components now, and I feel like
good for you.
All the people who are talking about React Server components, they're either like fans or they hate it. So the haters don't know what's going on; they just like hate it blindly. They hate it because it's change. The people who are fans, they just like don't care what is happening, and they're like they're fine with everything, so they don't look kind of like deeper. I feel like I'm in a position where I can appreciate kind of like all the bugs and all the features. So there are a lot of like things that are like easy about React components, and I will. I'm kind of like trying to. I'm trying to do that similar thing to like where Dan Abramov is like, let's create full like implementation from scratch, and not a lot of people are going to like look into that because it's kind of like too much. So I'm trying to come up with like a lighter version of that, but still okay. So okay, thank you for creating all of this stuff. So let's go to /test and let's see if that kind of like works.
I already didn't. It didn't want to work. Or now it will. No, it didn't want to work.
Okay. Do you know what's there? Oh, it crashed in the server. So.
Hold on, I have to close my window.
Okay. So Astro is working on a. Actually started my talk as like a talk about like comparing island architecture to React components, but I realized that there's basically like no chance for me to try to like explain it in a reasonable time. So Astro works differently because Astro it doesn't basically have a router on the top. Like Astro does just like one page at a time.
Yeah, it's MPA.
And that comes with its own kind of like sets of challenges, all that stuff, but it makes stuff a lot simpler. So let's figure out what crashed in the terminal. Let's I don't know, maybe like restart it or something.
It might need to be, yeah.
What I do is I would usually just write a script that will like just restart the server when it crashes. Okay, so yeah, so this. Okay.
There we go.
Yay. Okay, cool. So again, this page, as far as I remember, like by default, it just doesn't have like any JavaScript. So if you click on like index right now on the link, you will see like full page reload, like with the browser spinner and all that stuff. It's not going to be. It's not going to be like interactive. That's why you're a backend developer now. So you're yeah, you see like it did like a full page thing.
Ooh. I mean, I don't have an about page, so that's not going to work anyways.
Yeah, but the thing is that you can write backend like in any language, right? You can do it in React, you can do it in Solid, you can do it in Astro, and Astro Astro could be a bit nicer for some of the things that we're going to try, but let's not worry about it.
Are we going to do HTMX stuff through SolidStart? Are we going to do it through a just regular?
I think it's funnier to try to SolidStart. That's we are going to
give it a try,
of course, until it's dead. So let's go to test and it's like, okay, but how do we add some kind of like interactivity?
Okay.
I'm going to say something that's like no React or like Solid developer wants to hear, but let's add a script tag.
Is it within the main?
It doesn't matter. So we're going to pick one from docs. So the script tag is going to. I mean, we can start here, right? We can start with console log just to see like if that works, right? Just to see if that like did anything.
Yeah, it did. And really small writing, but I can right there.
If you press the cog on the top right, you can hide like all the debug stuff, like hide network and all that stuff. So you will see.
Where am I?
Okay. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's just a bit more.
I knew that. Yeah. Me just leaving it open all the time.
Yeah. You can press the phone button, so you don't have to do it in the responsive thing. It's the left button. Okay. So what we're doing here is that this is how like Astro works. This is how like any kind of like backend works. You'll write your thing that generates HTML. If you're using like JSX or something like that, that's guaranteed to be kind of like safe and all that stuff. So it's like compared to PHP where you just like hitting strings on the screen and you're just like hoping that you don't have security issues. like all of this stuff is like in modern frameworks is already covered for you.
Hoping it doesn't have an error.
In a sense, I'm sorry.
Just hoping it doesn't have an error.
Yeah, but in a sense, it's like it's pretty close to PHP. So you can go and like in your test component, you can go like read from a database and all that stuff. So it's like you have all of those backend tools on your fingertips, which is pretty cool if you're doing backend compared to React, right? So you have to create a like API endpoint, you have to like send some data, you have to like parse JSON and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so let's go to HTMX docs and let's pick up the script tag that they have. It should be kind of like
I think it's at the top of it, isn't it?
Maybe on the previous page.
Oh my.
Where they had installing.
Right here.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah. If you save it, you won't kind of like see. Sorry?
I said ignore that.
Okay. If you save it, you won't kind of like see anything happening special, but now you'll see like JavaScript downloaded for this page. I know.
Okay.
That's yeah. So like, how do we make use of all of this? So let's go back to the docs and let's just like pick the first one with the button, right?
The first example, which is right here.
Yeah. So let's just add this button, not inside of the script tag. It should be after it.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I hate this, and I don't have Creator on right now. Anyways, so we put a button in. And
it's a special button.
A special
has
button.
Special tags.
HTMX tags. Beautiful.
Hey, you clicked on it and we see an error. That's already interactivity, right?
Yep. So can you pass objects into these or no? Like this is...
so what kind of objects do you want to pass?
So like if, I don't know, if you want to change the CSS of the page, if you click a button, something like simple. So if you click the button and next thing you know, it flashes, or not flashes, but the screen goes red. Quit eating zucchinis.
So the way to think about HTMX, if you wanna get like most bang for your buck, is HTMX is in a sense it's like closer to islands where you're adding interactivity into like some kind of like box. Mm-hmm. You're talking about like, can I change the whole page? That's like that's where HTMX is going to like work worse in a sense. But like it's all possible. It's like it's Turing complete kind of like language, right? You can write anything, but it's just not. It's not in the spirit in a sense. So let's fix all the issues kind of like what that are going on here. So first is that we have a button that has AJAX trigger click. So that means that this button is clickable.
Yep.
The next thing is target. So it needs to find some like div that has this ID. We can probably find it in docs, I'm guessing, but we can also write our own.
I can get...
Okay. Good
Copilot.
Good job, Copilot.
I don't think they have anything though.
Oh, so let's try it again. Let's click on it again and let's see what's happening. Okay, so you see that it knows what to change, but it went to that path and it didn't find anything.
Yep. 404 code.
Oh, let's create that path. Let's go to root or routes, sorry, and let's create a test.tsx file. Oh no, sorry, not test, but clicked, right? I'm sorry.
I'm just following along with what you're saying.
Yeah, I was thinking about like something else. So yeah, so let's just copy kind of like enough from that previous page. Just to say like hello or something like that.
In here?
It should. So let's go back to test. Let's just copy like the whole page.
Copy the whole page. Okay.
And let's put it in, and let's get rid of almost everything. Let's just leave like one div that says hello or something like that instead of like main, just like hello.
Do we
like
want to
remove
keep the
everything.
HTMX script,
I
or
don't know.
that's going
It's
to
just like completely like
everything?
in backend lingo that's called partials.
Okay. I clearly do
Uh,
not do backend stuff enough. That sounds
yeah.
so bad.
So remove main
Anyways.
as well. So it's like it's just like it could be basically like just a string as well. So return a string. So it's like yeah.
Oh, you just want everything gone?
Yeah. Just semantically, like when you have main, it's like you will now have like two mains. So it's not like
Oh, is it
not
going
the
to... Oh, okay. You know what? I
H1
realize
is
what you're
fine.
going with. Or H2 will
Okay.
go semantically correct. So
So now let's click on it again. Yeah, so
we got an HTMX after request HTML
I think our server
center.
died again. let's restart.
You're right. Me not paying attention to my... Okay.
HTMX is weird if you're coming from frontend. That I can like give you that. And so we need to look at the DevTools. Right? I mean, it happened.
It did something, but it brought over this stuff as
So
well.
that's our thing about like the yeah. Let's just go and clean up some stuff that will like make our lives a bit easier. We're going to go to back to root.
Are we gonna just comment out?
We just will kind of like yeah, get rid of that stuff. So it's just like a bit easier for us. So let's click on it.
Woohoo!
Okay. Oh, your own words, like how would you describe what happened?
In my own words, it took. So I made a post request and changed what was in the parent div only. So is that where? So this is where it makes me think of like signals, like fine-grained reactivity stuff, where it's
Okay.
you're able to target specific parts of the page versus
Okay.
needing, like in React, re-rendering the entire
Instantly.
page.
Yeah.
So if you are, like in the case you're writing like a to-do list, you would be adding a to-do to a list without having to redo the entire page. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. And like, can you just like again like this is a higher level, like what would you do to do the same thing in like in React and Solid, right? Like what are the like moving pieces you need to do to change one
Sorry, my
div
fire
to
alarm went
like
off and that scared the bejesus out of me. What were you saying? So with React, you were saying what would we have to do to get the same thing happening?
yeah.
You would have to write a whole, like, oh god, I have not been working with React recently.
So
You'd have
let's
to
just
make a API route. You'd have
okay.
to call said route. If you wanted to, you'd have to, I don't know, I feel like there'd just be like so much more code. So there would
Exactly.
be, yeah.
That's kind of like the point. It's like if you're doing like proper React, you have like React query that you need to like add a listener for that thing to like to mutate your
Yeah, the
like
on click
thing,
and everything. Which
and
this
it
is
will go to the
this is dealing with, right? Instead of having
and
the
it
on
will.
click.
So like on click is like HX trigger.
Yeah.
So like React query is like HX post, right? So like and the response that you got in JSON form, you need to like render it into HTML. So you need to create that H2 tag and all that stuff. So that's your like HX HX swap like inner HTML, right? So it's like it just puts the I mean, it does outer HTML. There is like a difference, but anyway, so it's like that's the part where when we turned like a text like hello string into like H1 tag.
Yeah.
That's the part that you would do also like in React. But here, like Our backend always returns HTML. It's
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter. Like it's just another HTML for it. Um, so uh, uh, so
Yeah.
now we will do this like maneuver
A maneuver.
that will like shift. Yeah, that will shift from like that code that I showed you before with like AJAX submit function.
Yep.
It will turn this
one.
into kind of like an app. And what we're going to do is that, so let's put that button inside of the parent div thing. Oh, we have right now is like nothing clicked yet. So let's put that button inside.
Inside the div.
The div, yeah. Okay, so now click on this button. We kind of like destroyed it.
Yep.
Oh,
so it handles
copy
that as well.
Sorry?
It handles that as well then. Because you would have
it
to.
handles what?
It gets rid of the button for you. Like everything is.
And so what it did is like everything that was inside of this parent div got replaced with that response from clicked endpoint,
That's crazy.
including the button. So let's do like another maneuver, right? So let's copy that button and put it into clicked endpoint. Oh, let's create. It's not semantic like to do it in H2, so you have to like fragment.
We'll do a div. Are we gonna keep the?
Yeah.
Not the hello, but are we going to keep the class on it? Or the ID?
I mean, yeah, not yes. You should add ID. Yeah, right.
Do we want parent div or new div? Like,
Yeah, it should be the same. Otherwise, like it's not going to work the second time. So now let's click on it. Let's click on it again. You don't see the difference, but like it should work again. So let's add like a counter. So like on line 2, just create like a let I equals 0, something like that. And let's like when we have hello, add like I plus something like that. It's already no.
Oh shit! Sorry, that's React.
I think you did it correct. I have like a smaller font, so like I don't see like everything directly. But yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so let's click on it, and let's click like a bunch of times on it.
Oh, convenient.
So the I state lives on the server.
Yeah, persisted.
Yeah, we can like read it to database, like write it, like you can do like anything that you want. So the thing is like our JavaScript doesn't kind of like have any state, if that makes sense. It's like the only kind of like things that are happening like are on the server. So if you have like 2 tabs, for example, open of the same page, like it will just like just ask the server what's like the latest value, and it will kind of like work.
You're talking through here? I really don't play with my console much.
Yeah, so there is nothing on the client. That's the thing. Like on the client, we only have HTMX. So like all the interactivity that we need to add on the client, we would have to like add through a script tag.
Oh.
So that
Are we doing that now? So, a question then, if we're using HTMX, right now it's only in the test page as far as I can tell. It's not through the entire app. So if we were to do HTMX within the clicked page, we'd also have to add another script tag here.
And so the clicked, like we didn't go to like /clicked, right? So the clicked was like partial. So we only
because it's in the test page.
And we only get parent div from it, like it doesn't have like that test and like all of the other stuff. Yeah, usually like on backend frameworks, you have like an easy way to render the same view as a partial view and as like a full view.
Yeah.
That's kind of like exactly for this purpose. And by the way, so this is like the last part, and like it should be like in the fun part. Go back to your test. Oh yeah, we need to rename the clicked one. It's like right now it's go back to clicked. Like the component is called
Yep.
test. We need to rename it.
We want to
It's line
rename
5.
test.
It's line 5. Like it's still called test.
Oh,
Here.
I see what you mean. There we go.
So let's go back to test, and now let's import the clicked component from. So it's like on line 2. Just write like import click from. It should be the capital. Yeah. Cool. So now let's get rid of the starting from line 10 that like parent div. Parent div. Like let's remove
This?
it.
Okay.
The whole thing until line 21.
Oh, all of it?
Yeah, and just write clicked. Yeah, thank you, Copilot. Press save. And it like it increments it, but like, do you see kind of like what happened here?
Yes. Every time I save the page.
Now, so clicked now is kind of like a component, and it's like a full stack component. You just like, yeah, and here I'm going to put this thing that will like take care of its own. So it's like
Wow.
It
And
will
so-
refresh itself, or it will like handle all the interactions.
Yeah, and every time you save the page, it goes up. Oh, we're just going to ignore that.
And that's just how we wrote it. But like you would do like instead of this page just like refreshing the page, like you would make like a form submit, and if it's like post, then you like increase it. If it's like a get, you will just like show it. So it's like all of this is kind of like easy to do, but I don't exactly know how to like work with requests in Solid, so like we're not going there.
So, what is the like use case for using HTMX over something else?
So the use case, yeah, that goes back to I forget who asked that question, but like, how do you compare HTMX to Vue? It's like you don't. It's kind of like a fool's errand. It's like it's kind of like silly to compare that. So like people who compare HTMX compare it to jQuery, because without HTMX you would write all of the same code to do all of the same things if you want to write this kind of app. And like in 2005, we were writing this kind of app. So HTMX just like streamlined writing this style of applications.
Okay.
Where everything is handled through the server. Everything is like handled through like sending form data instead of like JSON, receiving HTML instead of receiving JSON, and like not having kind of like client logic or like having it kind of like contained in a sense. So I actually want to try that. Like I haven't actually like made it work, but can we go back to clicked and write a script tag and like say like hello world? Yeah.
Do we want
We
the
did that
script
before.
tag with the HTMX stuff, or we don't need that now?
Oh, it's just like script tag, right? So it's just like hello world.
In script tag?
Yeah. Console log. Yeah, sorry. Console log hello world. Yeah. So let's save it and let's see if that works. Because I'm not sure like how.
What it looks like.
You
So the
have
other
it
thing I
fine.
am noticing is that it renders twice
Go
through
back
the
to
test
the
page.
console. Yeah, console. Can you say it again?
It's rendering twice through this page. when
Yeah,
I
it's just
refresh.
it's kind of like SolidStart thing. It's like
Ah.
don't worry about it. It's going to be fixed.
There it is.
Oh, when you click on it, does it show hello world again?
When I click on the
Click
button.
on the yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So what we can do now is that if you go back to clicked,
Yep.
So see that like this script tag is just a string.
Yep.
And it's like, how do you use the server side state in HTML? You just like put it out like on line 10. But like, how do you use that state in a script? That's like a different thing. And that's like sort of thing you have to do like in Astro. You have to like think about it. Like, how do you do hello world, like hello world I, right? So like,
are you talking like
what's
plus I?
Yeah, exactly. So like try this, and like you will see the error because it's like I is not defined.
Oh.
Because we are writing a string. It's like it's not writing like JavaScript code in a sense. Does that like make any sense at all? Like what's happening? If you go to elements,
Maybe.
yeah, in DevTools, let's just like find that script string. Not this one. It should be like inside of the main, right? As,
there it
should be
is.
inside of the parent div now.
Oh, that's right.
So you see, like when this code is running, it will just run like I as a letter I,
as opposed to a variable.
Yeah. So let's try to like add a JSX, like just like JSX around I, and just see if that works. Again, like I haven't tested that. Oh, did it happen? It's hello world, like some comments, and yeah, I wonder if that happened.
Unexpected end of input.
A syntax error, exactly. Yeah, it's like it doesn't know how to kind of like to do this. So one fun way of doing that, and that they teach you that like in Astro docs somewhere.
Yep.
You can set I as an attribute on on some element. So let's say that we have this like hello I, and like on that h2 or maybe like on that parent div, let's add like I equals I.
Are we doing that for what, or what are we doing?
Data I. Yeah, here, yeah.
Data equals I.
Oh, it has to be like so the name of the attribute is data I. So it's like a data attributes a dash.
Gonna have to be a little bit more.
yeah, it's fine. So like write data.
Yep.
Write dash. Write I.
Mm-hmm.
Now equals and like in curly braces I.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And so let's go to elements and like see how it passes it. So it's like it's 0. Can you click a few times and see how that changes?
Oh my.
It's like 3. Or by the way, there's a lot of like noise. That's just because of like because you don't do like partials in the Solid right now. So it's like don't worry about it. If you were doing Astro, it would be a bit cleaner, but it's fine.
We're not doing Astro.
So, how do you get the value of the attribute? Like, let's go just the console, and it's like, how do you read that value in JavaScript, right?
It's not I anymore.
First, we need to find the element.
And the element.
Oh, the easiest way to find it is just like document query, document get element by ID or something like that.
Me not being able to type document.
that happens a lot.
Selector.
Yeah, or query selector. Yeah, and like just hash.
That'd be what parent.
You need to start a string. Yeah.
Can you tell I really don't use basic HTML often?
Yeah.
We're
here to learn, so yeah, you can press up to get the previous one. It's like how in and just like close everything. Okay. Yeah, so we got it. So the other thing is that like data attributes are a bit special. There's this an element. You have a special property called data set. So if you press up and like just like dot.
Document dot
data set. It should be like in one word.
Are we doing that after the query selector?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing. I think it will work. Dot data set. Yeah, this one. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And Yeah, and if you do like .dataset.i, I think it should pick up the value. Okay, but it's picking it up by as string, but it's like close enough.
We're there.
So we're learning a bit of just like vanilla JavaScript. So let's just copy that whole string of data, copy and all that stuff, and let's just put it instead of I, like on that string.
There.
Yeah. And let's just see if that like works in any way. So hello world 0. Okay, can you click on it? Okay, it works. So so now you can imagine that if you can run a kind of like a script tag, right?
Yep.
You can do any document.get. What the document.get does? I don't know. So you can write any kind of like script that you want. One of the scripts that you can write is like you can do a document query selector or like HTML tag or like body tag, right? And just like change style of that body tag to something that you want, right? Because like we can kind of like have that thing, and because we have a way to communicate values to JavaScript, we can do like if it's even, let's do like a red color. If it's odd, let's do a green color. So it's like you can do all of those kind of like global things that you were asking before. It's like, hey, can I change the like this thing? You would probably have to do something like that. The more like HTMX way of doing that is actually like to send events. So like when this new like HTMX block got data, you want to like send event to someone, and like some script will handle that event and like know how to respond to it, to update title or update like background color, all that stuff. But I'm just saying that like it's a Turing complete language. Like you can do anything. So it's like it's just like a different way of kind of like thinking about it. So I think like events and logging is probably it. Yeah, like I already added HTMX to my resume. Like I worked for it like for the whole of like 30 minutes. So.
Well, I mean, if you have a good foundational knowledge of both vanilla JavaScript and HTML, I feel like it's not far off to be able to use HTMX easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially based on like what I've been seeing and what you've been saying.
Yeah. So this is like sort of things you can do is like you can handle all kinds of you have like hooks for all kinds of interactions that you want to like kind of like debug or like react to. Maybe you want to show like a spinner, right? Or like how they do like this progress bar on the top when you do like some application, something like that. Like you can do all of this stuff. It just depends on like how much flair kind of like your application requires, because JavaScript is basically kind of like a flair language. There is no way to add kind of like nice looking things or like nice animations without JavaScript. But like this is not what HTMX does in a sense. It's like the explicit goal is to kind of like to not use JavaScript.
So it's trying to abstract that out to other things then. Interesting.
Because you see that like whole thing, like we didn't do any kind of like JavaScript stuff, but like it's already kind of like an application. It already works. It already can like talk to the server. It already can do like you wanna like right now we just like show hello like a number, right? But we can also like show error messages, or like counter can only go up to 10, just like check if it's less than 10 and like do something or like don't do something. It's like but you write all of that logic on the server.
Yeah.
Again, like it could be any server. Like just for the fun of it, we're using Solid here.
Yeah.
And like Solid, good one, because it's like it doesn't ship any JavaScript when you do like the server version, when you do like this islands thing. if you want to do it in like React, you would have to go to like remix and like remove the script tag from there. So it's like it's like more steps kind of like to do it
Okay.
in other things. But most people who use that use like Python, Go, OCaml, like PHP, and all that stuff. So and I think like important thing to note here, which is like again, if you want to show like a model. You want to show like a drop down, I don't know, like something that is like client side heavy.
Yeah.
You could go and just like write a JavaScript file, right? And just like implement all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Or you could use Vue, Alpine, all of that stuff. So it's like,
So you can use libraries now.
there are or like web components frameworks because it's like lead HTML, for example, it's like it's really easy to start it from like a script tag as well. So it's like, yeah, I just want to use like shoelace, like details. Have you heard of shoelace?
No.
It could be like a fun like a. We can add a bit like a flair to this through shoelace. So shoelace is basically like kind of like how like material UI or like component libraries are working, but it's like for components. So if we go to like I think on the side they have like all kinds of components. We can find like I think it's called like details or details. That's the one that I So you see like it has like this nice navigation of like showing, hiding, all that stuff. Like requires JavaScript because you need to know the height, otherwise it's like the animation is going to go crazy, all that stuff. So it's like, but in order to use this thing. They have like this like a source tab. You need to like click on it.
Oh, here.
Okay. Yeah. So this is like the whole thing that you need to do to make this thing interactive. And like we are not writing any JavaScript, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's just HTML. I mean, we're using AJAX, so maybe like we would have to like change like a camel case or something like that. But it's like you can put that sort of thing in any like backend language, and it's going to work just great. So let's just like put it.
Put this in.
Let's just
here.
In where we have hello, maybe like under hello, something like that.
I hate the way that looks.
We have like an auto formatter in VS Code.
I have prettier.
Like document format or something like that. Yeah. So this one. Okay. I think it's just like not configured.
It might be because I don't have prettier. Oh shoot! I have 2 script tags. Hold on.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the style tag.
Oh, I do that. And then
server died again. But yeah, server is not going to. Yeah, this is just like this part would have been easier in Astro because like it doesn't know that those brackets are like not part of JSX kind of.
Yep.
What we can. So what you have to do in you have like a React example when we were looking at the docs for details.
In details, did they have a React example? They did.
Yeah, they have HTML and then there is a React. Okay, and what did they do for styles? CSS. Yeah, so let's copy that.
So
let's copy like CSS. Yeah. It doesn't matter where it is. It's going to be kind of the same. And just like replace that with because like the brackets are working differently. Yeah, let's restart the server. Okay, so do we have it? And so we have the tags, but like we still need to add a script tag. So I think like in the at the top of the page they have like kind of like install instructions.
Oh, that was actually below this one here, right?
Okay. Cool. Okay, toggle me.
Wow, it works! No CSS though. Wait, is that that is the CSS?
I think yeah, this CSS is just for the icon, but you need to like also install the icon and all that stuff. There's like a few more steps of like making it work. But
Making it
we
pretty.
made the JavaScript part work. Like I don't care about CSS usually.
Interesting.
So you see that like how for someone who is doing backend, this is much like easier to understand.
Yeah, so much
Sometimes it's
easier.
like I just copied this HTML code. I just copied this HTML code, and like not everything works. I don't have to like. I don't have to. I don't
Learn
have
all
to
the
think about
nuances.
like what is the best React query like alternative at this minute, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's actually really neat.
And again, it's like did zero JavaScript, and for a lot of people, this is like they wake up in the morning and they're like, I hope I'm not doing JavaScript today, and like they will go into their life and like not doing
Today's the
JavaScript.
day. Yeah.
So it's like it's a that's why for me it's kind of like hard to like talk about like how is it different from Vue. It's like yeah, the whole ideology is different.
Yeah.
It's
It's comparing two
almost
very
the
different
same if you
things.
think that. I'm sorry.
It's comparing two very different things.
Yeah.
Interesting. So this is making life easier for a lot of the people that don't actually want to learn all the ins and outs of React.
And it could be making a lot easier for just like a regular person even if you know React, because it's like yeah, I can do React. I can get like selective hydration, streaming, all of this stuff. It's like, or I could just like copy 2 lines of code from like my previous project, and I will get this like form that like subscribes from email or something like that. This is like just one thing. Like I don't need like a whole framework around it.
I guess that means that the websites would also be significantly quicker and smaller too, because you
Right.
wouldn't
So
have as much, I guess,
depends on like
fluff.
what you compare it with, because Solid is actually I think like
Solid's tiny as it is.
a bit smaller than HTMX, but it's just like a different way of thinking about it. It's like if I have a markdown file, do I ship like markdown parser? If I do, like it's like all the third party thing will kind of like at some point will like overblow like the React bundle itself. So it's like,
Yeah.
but if you do everything on the server, like yeah, users are going to benefit from that, and it works better if you're doing this kind of like MPA style, where it's like on this page I download like library for map. On this
Yeah.
page I download library for like graphs. I don't have to figure out like all the like lazy bundle splitting like things that I need to do like in the real framers, right? It's kind of like done for you automatically. Like if you're if I'm on this page, I only download this.
That's fair.
Oh, I wanted to show you like one more thing,
Sure.
and I would say that this is probably like as much as HTMX as you like ever need.
So the most intense
um,
it can get.
yeah, so I mean, it's like a tricky thing because there are like a lot of things in HTMX that you can learn, but like just if you're doing this just to like an introduction for people who like don't care.
Yep.
I think we're covering like kind of like the most of what you need. I mean, there's also like this security question, but I guess we will finish with that. So, just like a fun thing, let's go back to like our index route that we had in the routes, and
Yep.
let's start there because I want this to be kind of like a separate demo. So. What we are going to do there is like we will remove I think like everything except for like hello world, and
Oh.
let's write a like a tag, right? So it's going to be like I don't know, like about, right?
Are we
A
talking
href.
like capital A or just like
No,
a?
just regular ones.
Okay.
We're backend developers now. We can do that.
Do we want it to go to test or do we want it to go to another page?
No, like about.
Oh.
We could just do this test, but I just wanted to be a bit cleaner. Okay, so this is. I don't know why HTMX usually doesn't talk about that more, but I like this part. So what you can do here is you can add a tag to this href, not a tag, but attribute. It's called HX boost.
We're adding it to A.
Huh?
We're adding HX boost.
Equals true. Okay, that's cool. So now save it, and now try to click at it.
We don't actually have that page. I don't think.
Can you show the terminal? I think it should work differently. I wonder if that's solid.
Well, we don't have a about page yet. Do we want to make one quickly?
Okay, let's do it. I was just looking for. I was just looking what kind of errors it will show, but yeah. So let's copy the index page actually.
Index page it is.
Yeah, so let's change the the hello for about. And this link is going to go to home, right?
Yeah.
It's just slash because we don't have the slash home. The title is home, here. But the URL is yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
breaking everything, restart the server.
Yeah, I wonder why server crashes. It's it doesn't crash in Astro. Okay, so let's go to about. And let's go to home. Okay. I realized what happened. We forgot the script tag.
Oh, in index. We don't have it, right?
I was like, why is it showing different error message here?
We need this one again, don't we?
Yeah. No, not shoelace, but the HTMX one.
It's in test, yeah. Whoops. There we go.
Okay. I think
we want that in the home one, right?
Let
me restart the server.
You remove the angle bracket accidentally on line 14. It just starts with a slash. Yeah. Okay, so we did that for index. We also need to do that for about, I think. Okay, let's click around. Okay, so you see that it doesn't do full page navigation anymore.
Yep. That's interesting.
So that means that we just wrote single page application in router, right? In HTMX.
We're fancy now. That's interesting.
Yeah, because it's how would you do that in React, right? So you need to do SSR, you need to do you need to hydrate
a lot of stuff
everything.
Nobody wants to do.
You need a router.
That's why we have Next.
Exactly. Next has you as well. So if you go to console to terminal, and if we go to network tab. And yeah, it fetch XH or thing is the right one. So let's click around, and you see that it goes to that page. It downloads everything, and it will replace just your page with the new content. This is how this is very simplified version of how Solid Island Router works.
Okay.
Because this is a really dumb router, it doesn't do too much stuff.
Yeah.
Just adds the HTML and plops it on the page. So not a huge router. It's just you get this kind of router for free, right? Instead of writing kind of a AJAX target, it's just work inside of this box. This is my counter component, or however we count it. Thing, however we called it, is inside of this, yeah, just like do the whole page is also like, if you're destroying the whole page is also kind of like easy.
Okay.
And you can do like, you can use like morph DOM and all that stuff. So you can do like, you can do it pretty quickly. You can preserve, like if you have like a video playing, it will like continue playing all that stuff. So it's like, it's really a lot like SPA. But
Okay.
again, if you're a backend developer,
That's what you're looking
compared
for.
to like reading like Redux or sorry Remix or like Next.js docs, it's like, yeah, just like add a tag to your links. That's the only thing that you need to do.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is like HTMX has this like kind of like cascading attributes. So if you add that HX boost tag to your like root, all children components are like, I mean, it works for any tag. So it's like any tag could be like put on your parent, and like all the children will just like inherit it. It means you just like in your like root template, you just like put HX boost on your like HTML tag, and like, yeah, just like your whole app is now SPA. Like you don't have to think about it. You just like add a regular A link.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
Oh, cool.
If you don't want, you just like put like on that link, you like HX boost false. So you're opting out. So like everything is boosted, but like I want to like opt out of boosting like for this component or something like that.
For whatever reason you have. Oh, interesting.
There is also like a, yeah. Yes, let me try to find the link for that.
So this is almost like a pagination version.
The pagination. No, I think it's just like a full blown. I mean, okay. I think I don't understand the question.
No, I was looking at this and I was like, could this be? It was looking to me. I think what they were doing is exactly what you were doing here, but in my head, it looked like pagination to me.
Right, so you would do that kind of like the pagination logic on the server. So we would have like, hey, how many items do I have? Let me kind of like let me go and generate all of those links, right? If I have like 100 items and every page fits 20, let me generate 5 elements. So it's like you can use the same kind of like you would do in Solid, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is like the last thing we're going to touch about.
For sure.
If you follow HTMX Twitter, you know that they were like so back, but then it was like so over.
Aren't they just like unhinged lately, as everyone's talking about it? Drop downs aren't real. That is the end. See, this is what I like about what I've been seeing about HTMX. They don't take each other seriously.
Yeah.
So, do you see this becoming more widespread adopted, or is this just something that's kind of going to be fairly niche for the time being?
Yeah, so I think I actually enjoy it being kind of like a more known or more adopted and all that stuff, because I think once you have someone knows about HTMX, will look at like React and React Query and all that stuff, and they're like, do we really need that? Like, can I just like put script tag in my React and like we'll be done with it?
Yep.
I think it just like hires the bar, like lowers, raises it raises the bar for like, this is how simple it could be. Doesn't mean that it's like it's easy to do it that simple in React, but it's like, why not? Like, can there be HTMX component in React that like gives you this functionality like for your component if you're like working on something simple?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like it raises question of like, are we, like is the whole internet wrong? Like, are we doing everything wrong? Like, is there ways to kind of like to make it simpler? And yeah, I'm enjoying that part of it, kind of like. And for So I do this project. It's called B2B SaaS Kit.
Mm-hmm.
.com. The idea is that it's like an app built with Astro, but it has all kinds of apps. Yeah, we can actually.
What is it again?
I wonder like what's the best place. Yeah, so the best place is actually probably like this. Oh, okay. You don't see that. So let me send you a link. So this is our okay. That's the other link. That's about security. Let's let's close with this. Yeah. So you can see like this page. It's like how much React query and like React do you need on this page? Like the only interaction that it does is like it allows you to like open and close those things, right?
Yep.
The first version, by the way, was written with that shoelace library. We had to change it because of reasons, but this one is a bit nicer.
Shoelace.
But like this application, like this is Astro with basically like kind of like zero JavaScript, right?
Yep.
And if you go to like landing page of that website, if you click on the home, like again, it's just Astro. It's like it has just one button. But when you click on Get Started, that's like a full stack SSR, like all of that stuff application.
Yep.
This application, when I'm signed in, I have like a chat widget hanging, right? If I'm chatting and if I'm navigating between pages, I want this chat to like stay open.
Yes.
If I go to like some page, I want it to be like pre-rendered on the server. You need to sign in because we didn't write like the nice.
Hey, it's fair.
nice kind of like error messages, but it's like I'm saying is like it looks much nicer when you're logged in, but it's that thing that allows you like that's why I like Astro, because it's like it allows you to mix and match. It's like so here I have like a full application, like here I have application without SSR, here I have application with SSR, here I have like a just like a landing page that is like static, here I have HTMX page and all that stuff. So like I have like some demos for HTMX and all that stuff. It's not that kind of like important right now, but this is transitional apps for me, not SmeltKit, but this is the architecture that allows you to pick and choose, and it's like so like for HTMX by default it has like pretty better handling, like it doesn't have like the nicest kind of like all the like navigation or like a kind of like spinners, all that stuff. It's like maybe like for pages where like we have maybe like admin pages or something like that, where we don't need that kind of like flourish, that kind of like nice touches of like UX. It's like like let's give up on like the whole React thing and let's just do it in HTMX.
Yep.
And if you have the same person who's working on both, they will like ask more. They will ask more from HTMX. They will ask more from React. So I see this as like as a good thing. And even though like I meme about it and all that stuff, it's like I still feel like even though it's like technology that we used in 2005, it's still cool that new developers are learning about it.
Yeah.
And they those are not finished.
Got a few to-dos.
There's sort of like pretty big ones. Okay, so let's go to that like gist thing, and let's close kind of like on the security thing, because like the so I sent you in Discord the link about the GitHub gist. So today's meme on HTMX Twitter is like HTMX developers don't know how to write a dropdown. The previous one was about security. The thing is that it's not like insecure how like some people would try to put it, but it just has their own kind of like considerations that you have to do. And I think I have like a link on bottom, so that's the one that is unsafe demo. Yes, this one. Don't click on it because it's just unsafe. I'm joking, but. So what you need to go is I wrote basically like the same app in React as React SPA and as HTMX. it's kind of like I was using that AJAX boost stuff, so it's like it looks like SPA, like
Yep.
it almost works as React one. Like again, like I didn't want to spend too much time on it.
Fair,
But
yeah.
if you click on the unsafe version, it just goes to kind of like details about like the security considerations. So basically, you have like a text, right? So you go to CMS and you like ask for like a blog post.
Yep.
If it's a text, any kind of like reasonable modern framework, you just put it as a text and it's safe. It
Yep.
will not run the script tags inside of it and all that stuff. If you're doing set HTML, which is like dangerously set in React, or I forgot how Solid calls it, but like inner HTML thing.
Yep.
So that's the scary part, because that means that if that thing had a script tag, that script tag probably running. I think in React they they drop script tags anyway. I don't remember how that works. Like not in every case, but sometimes.
Yep.
But this is like unsafe. Everyone knows that this is unsafe. So what they do is they use some kind of like sanitized HTML like library, right?
Yep.
Problem is that if you have requirements that ask you to allow data attributes, it's not obvious that HTMX uses data attributes as like executable fields.
Okay.
So if you add like all those tags that we looked at, attributes like HX target, HX like pick something, like all of them could be written as data, HX boost, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That means that I can create a button. Or it doesn't have to be a button; it could be a div, right?
Yeah.
I can create a div, and I think here I have like I have data HX trigger load, so it will like automatically run that script.
Yeah.
Then I have like a HX target, like not target, but like HX post, right? So it's like go and send request to that URL. So it's like I already I made this thing executable.
Okay.
And it actually has pretty simple solution. You just like add HX disable to it. That's it. So this is like the whole angle of like HTMX is not secure. Yeah, it's just like you just have to know that you need to add that tag. Because of that, like inheritance and all that stuff, like everything on your page is executable. Everything is getting kind of like all those attributes from your parents and all that stuff. So it's like not the best thing. You just have to kind of like know how it works, and you need to do like if you do sanitation, you need to do it kind of like aware of HTMX.
Okay. Is that talked about in their docs and everything too?
So in their docs, they have like a thing called security, and it goes into a bit more details about like XSS, like eval, content security policies, all that stuff. So it's like, it's like you just like read this kind of like amount of text, and you know how to make it secure. But yeah, on Twitter that was like for like a whole week, everyone's like, "Oh, HTMX is dead. No one's going to use it.
Don't use it. It's the worst thing you could do."
Yeah, exactly. And then like something like Alpine, for example, it is like kind of like closer to what HTMX does, but again, it's like hard to compare them. Alpine is maybe like more like that shoelace library that we looked at. Like it allows you to write kind of like interactive things, like as attributes again. They have like a separate syntax for that is like more reactive or more view-like. But simplest terms is like, I want to make a model, I can create it in Alpine. So it's like Alpine, for example, relies on like on eval, on all other kind of like unsafe technologies, I guess, like a bit more. But again, they all have workarounds. They all have like a way to make it secure, to make it kind of like compliant. So, and again, it's just funny that like it was like a hot topic for like a week.
We have like weekly topics at this point where people get heated about something. And with HTMX being like the popular thing, they're going to try and find
But it's like,
ways
how
to.
popular is it, right? So it's like,
I think as long as there's somebody who's like relatively big talking about it, like if Prime's talking about it, other people are going to talk about
yeah.
it. And they're going to try and nitpick it as much as they can. But no, it's really cool. I can't wait to see what kind of develops from it and if it does end up becoming more widely adopted. Possibly, maybe.
I was enjoying, I think guy from Lit said, "Oh, I wonder if we can write HTML, HTMX and like in Lit." And I think someone from React or something like, "Oh, I wonder if it like." So like people are looking into that, and I think it could end up as a like a fun thing, or it could end up kind of like as nothing, because like when Alpine.js happened, a Vue created their like petite Vue version that is like implementing basically like Alpine as a Vue again, but it's like no one really uses that as far as I know. So it's like there's not too much chances that like um, something like that will become really popular. But again, it's like
Hey, if
more
there's
people
a
know about like,
market for it,
huh?
though, then if there's a market for
Yeah,
it, that's all that really matters. Like if somebody can find an application or if it makes the life easier of somebody who
yeah.
wants to use it, then why not?
And in a sense, it's like they're pretty silent. It's like people who are using Laravel. They're like just using it, and they're afraid to talk about it on Twitter because they're like everyone is going
Everyone's
to
a
like make
React
fun of them.
developer. To be fair, though, it can feel a little intimidating. It's like the same as when I think it was like a month ago, Vue was talked about everywhere, and people are like, I don't use Vue, but I guess I have to take it up because everyone's talking about it now.
Uh,
And then the same thing happened. I think Svelte's been talked about a lot lately, and I think the same thing's happening. I think with all the RSC stuff, there's a lot of division regarding like what's the future going to be, especially because there's quite a few people that are unhappy with where RSCs are going. So having
uh,
options is nice. And like HTMX seems like it could be a viable option for people who maybe aren't super comfortable with a lot of the big front end like meta frameworks.
yeah. In a sense, like all of them already kind of like know about it, and all of them are kind of like using it. It's just like not as loud kind of like on Twitter about it, because it's like, yeah, it's not kind of like sexy when your code looks like a screenshot from 2005, right? It's like
No fair. Looks like one of those old Neopets websites. No, but it is really neat. Are you planning on doing a lot of the like demos for the stuff that people tend to harp on HTMX for? Like, are you going to do anything regarding the drop down discourse that's happening?
I don't know, like I don't have like too much time to kind of like to do like HTMX advocacy. I think this stream is probably like the kind of like the extent of me doing it kind of like more seriously.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I enjoy kind of like hanging out on Twitter or like and like making jokes about it. But
Yeah.
I don't see it's going kind of like much further than that. Like I don't. I'm not planning to rewrite any of my like React code to HTMX anytime soon. But this the same way as like I'm not going to rewrite like everything OCaml. Still, I'm glad that people are like looking into that, because like I think like functional programming, for example, like is a really cool idea. Or like
Yeah.
HTMX is like people will look into HTMX and they will go and like check something like live view, and they're like, oh, this is like that but like more advanced, and I can build like any applications with it instead of like just simple applications.
That's fair.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you see yourself using HTMX?
Maybe. I still have to do a lot more diving into Solid and SolidStart because I've been
Yeah.
trying to get a better idea of the like project as a whole. Because I know React more so. I found I adopted React more as a superficial thing because like everyone's like, you have to know React. It's the best thing for you to
Yeah.
do. and like helping out with Solid and their docs, getting to know it at a deeper level has been quite interesting, and it's made me realize that it might be a better idea for me to start learning things a little bit like deeper. And like HTMX requires a pretty good understanding of like vanilla JavaScript. It requires a lot of backend stuff, which I'm not super. I mean, I can do it, but I'm like Googling stuff the entire time.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it develops for sure. I'm really interested in the fact that the code doesn't look to me and super intimidating. I find if you look at like a page of React stuff, sometimes you're like, I have no idea what's going on here. But I find anytime you keep it close to HTML, you tend to have a better understanding of what it is. Because I don't know, I spent a lot of time on HTML, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I like seeing HTML more. I do not like seeing a lot of fluff, and it seems like it abstracts out a lot of that fluff. So
Yeah, exactly. And I think like Solid especially, it's like really interesting because they're trying to do this kind of like use the platform, right? They're trying to do this like remix style where they're like, hey, let's use forms, let's make like less JavaScript, all that stuff. And I
yeah,
think it's a really nice platform to do that.
yeah,
There are still like a lot of unsolved kind of like
like gotchas and
patterns in a
stuff.
sense. So for example, like in HTMX, what you can do, like one of the features that they have is that if you have like an error, for example, your server can return a response that will say, hey, don't change that target that like you asked me to on the client, change this target instead, and you can use that for errors, for example. So you
Mm-hmm.
can go and like find error div and put your error message in that div instead of like responding with like a good response.
Yep.
So like all of those features require you to like write headers. It's like, but how do you write headers in like SolidStart? That's why I was saying like it's a bit like easier to do some of the things like in Astro, because Astro is like a bit lower level.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
SolidStart is like it's not all the way up in Next.js. Like I tried to do like this project in Next.js like a few days ago, and it's like, wow, there's like everything is so abstracted. There's like
Yeah.
just no way for me to get to like to the level that I need to get to.
Yep.
And Astro, kind of like the opposite, is like, oh, I
You
need
have
to
to do
build
everything.
so much stuff myself before I can get to the level where it makes sense.
Yeah. No, there's definitely pros and cons to every thing out there right now. That's why like part of me really likes Astro because it lets you kind of pick and choose what you want to use in different pages as well. Like if you want to have a React page, you can. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Whereas like if you're working with Next, you're kind of stuck with everything that they've built, which can be helpful if it's what you need. But like you said, if you don't need it, it's the biggest pain in the butt. And like I, what is it, Next.js? The new stuff is like the app router. That's the new
uh,
one, isn't it?
yeah.
I don't even know if I want to play around with it right now at all.
I think React components are going to be a really cool feature once it's
Better
like
understood.
animated from Next, because like once like Remix has it, once like all the, I think like every framework basically said we're going to implement it now. So like Gatsby, Redwood, like all of them said, yeah, we're
Oh,
doing something about it. And
didn't know that.
once that happens, once you kind of like see once you see RSC features separate from Next.js features, and once you understand, oh wow, that's the part that like I didn't like. That's all of this is like from Next.js.
Yeah, I mean, with change, there's always going to be a couple feathers ruffled, but I don't know. We don't know how to progress if there aren't big changes too. So maybe RSCs are going to be like the next big thing once people better understand them and know where to apply them. Because I think right now there's just a lot of uncertainty with things. They were comfortable with what Next was, and now they're mad with where Next is going.
Right. I wasn't comfortable with what Next was.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
loved
don't
it.
like Next.
I found it so easy. It was almost like the issue that I had with Next when I first started is it became very easy to avoid learning a lot of the fundamentals of how things work. And that's nice if you're just like, I want to build something, but the whys and hows I find are just as important because it helps you like efficiently build, I'm going to say. So I find the app router is really forcing people to know more about the fundamentals, whereas the, what is it, source before? Source was just...
Pages. Yeah.
Pages was easy.
Yeah, and it's like you're a Next developer now. You're like not a web developer. You haven't seen the web at all. You only see.
It's the same. Like some people only work with Vue, and that's like your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's better for generalization.
And it could happen with like something like .NET, where it's like everything is like so abstracted, like you just like don't know what is happening like under the hood, and that was kind of like for the longest time that was like the thing like why people are like, oh, I want to do like Ruby or Python because it's like it's easier. It's like it does less stuff. It's like easier to understand.
Yeah.
You always had like people are like, no, I will just like use this tool that like. I have like a kind of like a templates I can use to kind of like start with like a whole applications. It's a problem that like I can't change anything about how this thing works, but at least I can like initially move fast.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's going to be like kind of like forever, right? So like Next is going to be that more kind of like in a sense like solution oriented. It's like, yeah, just like solve this by that. And Astro, for me at least, that's where I find this like, oh, I can like pick and choose. I can use like lowest possible level, or I can just like port React router, port React variable, and TRPC, all that stuff, and like make it all work together. So
and you can make it your own thing. Not any one Astro project is the same.
Exactly. That's like if you're doing like a agency and your developers are staying on your team for like 6 months and you have like 10 clients a week.
Yeah.
It's better to do exactly the same thing, kind of like no matter how bad it is.
Yeah. Very true. Cool. Well, I really appreciate you going over all of HTMX. Well, not all of, a good portion of HTMX and everything and how it works, as well as introducing a bit of the SolidStart stuff. I really do appreciate it.
Did I finally figure out how to call it? I already forgot. It's at beta. If you want to try
at beta.
One, it's at beta.
I think there's some other stuff that's going to be happening within the next couple of weeks with SolidStart from what I've seen, so I'll be interested to see how it continues to grow. And then especially with like the new funding and stuff, it'll be interesting to see again how that kind of
that was nice to see.
Grows. So I'm really proud of everybody that's involved in SolidStart and can't wait to see how people go about doing things. But yeah, anyways, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. You are incredibly knowledgeable. You know way more depth about stuff than I think I could ever even potentially try and scrape out of my brain. But yeah, thank you again. Do you want to... I don't know how many people are left, but do you want to give your socials to people?
Promote yourself? As for knowledgeable stuff, just like if you do something for like 20 years, you will like end up with some knowledge out there anyway. But yeah, so I think like the best place to find kind of like my content and all that stuff is like my parasocial fix account. That's where I do kind of like some of my streams. The one about like RSCs was really fun. We went pretty deep, so like I don't know like if everyone can enjoy that, but like I was having fun.
Anybody who wants to watch.
And I'm going to do like in a week. I'm going to do like meetup talk about React components. I think that one is going to be like much more kind of like beginner friendly. If you
Hmm.
want to just like have a few things that you want to like impress someone that you know something about the RC, that's going to be like the one you're going to be saying like, oh, it's just like this. It's going to get you through RSC conversations.
Cool.
And yeah, I think and like check out my B2B SaaS Kit project. We just need kind of like more. Just need more people trying it out. We just need more people kind of like it's open source. So if you wanna, I don't know, if you wanna do fun stuff that is like a real project that you can like add to your resume, that's a really cool place to maybe like to start. And yeah, I'm going to kind of like uh, help you out if you have like some questions. We already had like two pull requests from like just people from the internet. It's
We
like
have 4 now.
yeah,
Cool.
and I don't remember if we like merged it or not, but yeah, it's that's probably the best place. Yeah, and I wanted to like meet you because I kind of like I follow Solid pretty
Solid's been
closely, and
fantastic.
it was nice to see some kind of like people behind it, and yeah, thank you for this opportunity to talk.
Awesome. It was great meeting you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And everybody else who's still here. I'll talk to everyone later.